I wonder what's on the tube.
Welcome back.
Thank you for being a friend.
What you talking about, Willis?
You are a meathead.
No soup for you.
Don't touch that dial, adjust those bunny ears, because what time is it, Jay?
Hello, America. It is time for the Bernard McCullough Show. I mean, Sitcom My Face. What's up?
Yeah, well, given Bernard McCullough is the name you gave, who do people know him best as?
Right. You might not recognize that name, but I believe most of you, hopefully, will recognize the name Bernie Mac.
Yes.
One of the goats, one of the original kings of comedy.
Comedy.
Ah, yes. And tonight, what show are we discussing that he may have starred in?
The Bernie Mac Show.
Oh!
What a
Damn.
surprise.
Good thing they cast him. That would have been awkward, huh? Tim Meadows comes in. He's like, wait, I'm starring in the Bernie Mac Show?
It's like, something's wrong here. Okay, now, yes. Okay, maybe a little more fitting, but at the time, when Bernard McCullough was alive, yes, we had the Bernie Mac Show.
Don't start with sad shit, man.
I know, it's...
Raise a glass to the great Bernie
Yes.
Mac.
The actual real Bernie Mac had passed in 2008, so...
How familiar were you with this show? Had you seen this?
Yeah, I wasn't an avid watcher, but, like, I watched on and off. I forget what day it was on.
I think it was moved around a little bit.
Yeah, and I think that was one of the reasons that later on, it, like, kind of suffered a little more as far as the ratings, and henceforth, after the 5th season, they didn't renew.
Well, while you find that, I guess we can say it aired on Fox, the Fox
That's
network,
correct.
from 2001 to 2006 for 105 episodes.
Yes, it crossed the finish line on that.
The golden 100.
Yeah,
The
golden
glorious 100 that every sitcom, vies for.
Based, like, somewhat on the, real life of Bernard McCullough.
Well, I didn't realize actually how fictional this whole thing was. His stand-up
Right.
act was so focused on especially in the original Kings of Comedy, raising his sister's kids, and then I just found out today apparently none of that's real.
No, he actually did have one daughter.
Yeah, but he didn't. His
I guess.
sister he didn't even have a sister, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know if he had an actual sister, but yeah, like, there was no.
She wasn't a drug addict. He didn't have to raise her kids. That was all created for the comedy.
Going into rehab, that he had to, take the kids before they, got taken by the state.
But that really led to this show because Larry Wilmore, were you familiar with him?
Yes, for those not familiar with Larry Wilmore, where I knew him from was The Daily Show.
The Daily Show.
And then his show that used to follow The Daily Show.
And he was senior black correspondent on The Daily Show? Yeah.
Yeah. Before he left and Roy Wood Jr. became the.
Oh, I like him too.
Oh yeah, I love Roy Wood Jr. Yeah. Now you can watch him also on Have I Got News for You? A news show with him and Michael Ian Black. It is quite funny.
Yeah, I didn't know previous to this and The Daily Show that Wilmore had worked on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Sister,
Yeah.
In Living Color, Jamie Foxx Show, and I guess also created the PJs at Fox for Eddie Murphy.
Yep. Yeah, I didn't know the prolific writing, producing. Yeah, it's like holy shit. Go Larry.
Yeah, no shit. But yeah, he was the one that saw the original Kings of Comedy with the rest of the world, and he goes,
"Yep,
I think this could make a great sitcom, Bernie. What do you think?" And ended up over at Fox for a 5-year run.
What was your first? Was it original Kings of Comedy? Was that your first exposure to Bernie Mac?
Well, I've always been obsessed with movies like Friday, and he, of course, that.
Right.
One of his last movies is one of my favorite movies ever that no one talks about is Soul Men. Did you ever see that movie with him and Samuel L. Jackson?
Yeah.
Fuck, that is a funny movie.
It was released posthumously.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that one and what was it? The Madagascar.
Yeah, one of the
follow-up.
Madagascar sequels. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Soul Men, if you haven't seen it and you're a Bernie Mac fan, god damn is that movie funnier than shit. That whole scene with the dog. He's like, man, you got a pantry full of dog food. I don't see no damn dog. Holy shit. And the Velveteen Rub. We all learned about the Velveteen Rub from Stifler's mom in that movie.
Now also, people that, followed his career actually may have been a little more familiar with him back in the day on Def Comedy Jam.
Yes.
Remember that on HBO?
Did he host at a point?
I don't know if he hosted at all, but he was definitely one of the early comedians on that show.
Another one of the funniest movie scenes of all time in Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood, where he's Bernie Mac, he's a cop, but he's racist against black people. And he's harassing the Wayans brothers, Sean and Marlon, and he's just going off about like, I hate your kind. He's like, I hate my mama cause she black. I hate my gums cause they black. And you're like, fucking... And he just plays it so straight and so mean, and you're like, oh, fuck, what a brilliant man.
He really was. But going back to the Def Comedy Jam, apparently there was a night that the crowd was extra rowdy, extra, just a bit extra, we'll say. And what's his name? Who was the original host? Not Russell Simmons, but
Martin Lawrence was one of the hosts.
Yeah, he was later.
Chris Tucker hosted, I think, at some point.
But anyway, like the host couldn't control the crowd. Basically, Bernie came out and gave the crowd the what for, basically, and they're like, oh, okay. It's kind of like you're familiar with what's his name, Bill Burr.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Burr, one of the things that brought him to prominence, he used to be on sometimes Opie and Anthony show, and they had their Traveling Virus, which was like a traveling multiple comedian show. They played Philly, and during the Philly show, they were booing every comic. They booed Patrice. They booed Dom Herrera, poor Dom Herrera. It's like like older comic and that. And then Bill comes out, starts his material. They start booing, and he's like, okay, enough of this shit, and just basically ripped Philly a new asshole. So by the time he left, they were loving him. Bernie Mac did that first back in, I think it was 92, like one of the first years of Def Comedy Jam, and it basically gave the crowd the what for. I was like, oh shit.
I seen Bill Burr live here in Grand Rapids years ago.
Oh my God.
It was so funny because they have Gilda Radner, I guess, was from here, so they do the Laugh Fest for Gilda Radner.
Oh yeah,
they do a whole
I've
comedy.
heard of that one.
And he was performing at a church, and I was like, I'm gonna go see Bill Burr at a fucking church. Okay.
Yeah, this is gonna mesh.
I think it was the Fountain Street Church if you're from Grand Rapids. Anyway, so it was like a hot summer day, like June or July. It was fucking scorching outside, and we go into this church, and the AC wasn't working.
Oh, and this all adds up to
yes,
a lot of a polite show from Bill Burr.
Oh, Bill Burr! It was
the ginger.
The fucking rage in this man is already there, and then you add to it just he's on stage dying, sweating in a fucking packed church. First, what the fuck am I performing in a church? Why is it 116 fucking degrees in here? And it was right after the first Trump win, or the presidential win.
Okay, to like 2016.
So he starts going in on Hillary, and then people start booing him. And then he's like, wait, I thought you fuckers voted for her. So he starts doing Trump shit, and they start booing him. He goes, pick a side, people! He's fucking freaking. Yeah, it was brilliant. Anyway.
Yeah, but if you ever saw Bernie's, like, again, original Kings of Comedy, if you saw him do stand-up live, he was a little more. He had more colorful words that he would use in concert.
Yeah, he's in that pack of X-rated comedians that end up doing family comedy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, so, what best to do with a man with great material and a X-rated mouth? Let's give him a family TV show.
Yeah.
But I love how they let Bernie still be Bernie in this show.
He's a very interesting, complex character on the show, which is made apparent by, and I don't know if you're a fan of this style of show, but I call them confessional type shows.
Yeah.
Where he's constantly
breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah.
Just in the confessional, and he's the only one.
Mm-hmm. They tend to work for me because you really get inside the character's head. Malcolm in the Middle, Titus is one of my favorite shows of all time.
Yeah. He just played around here, and I missed his show. Damn it, Christopher Titus.
Oh God, I've seen Christopher Titus in Grand Rapids probably 6 times.
Oh damn!
I
still have to see him live.
He's a brilliant man, and very kind. If you want to get pictures and autographs, so
sweet.
Yeah, but his show, he had that almost like a padded room he was in, where he would do the confessional type stuff. The Bernie Mac show's different in that the confessional, the den, it's the den on the show. Yep. He's not only telling you what's happening in the episode, it's his reactions to what's happening in the moment.
Exactly. And him bringing in the audience to relate to his perspective of the happenings going on. And it's like, you know what I'm saying, America? It's like,
almost a supernatural aspect, too, is by sitting in his confessional den and watching what's happening in the show, he learns things that his character shouldn't know.
Right.
Like he's witnessing, he's almost watching the show and learning, like, oh, they're talking about me behind my back, America. Can you believe this shit? And you're like, you're not there. How do you know that? You know? So it's very interesting. It's different in that way from like Malcolm, where Malcolm is like, he only knows in the confessionals what his character knows, it seems. Mm-hmm. Whereas Bernie seems like fucking all powerful, bro. He knows everything. He knows shit that's going on in the neighbor's house if there's a neighbor storyline going on.
Mr. Meanie. I'm trying to remember the character's actual name.
Was that Carl Reiner?
No, that wasn't Carl Reiner, but I'm trying to remember.
I can't wait till we get to the guest star portion of this show because Jesus Christ.
Awesome freaking guests on this show.
So you mentioned the main premise. I guess we should go over the cast a little bit. The main premise, the 2 nieces and a nephew move in, like you said. What was the actors and actresses that played the wife and the children? Well,
the wife, people may know her, Kalita Smith.
The only thing I knew her from was King's Ransom, that comedy movie with Anthony Anderson. But
also, she was on a few episodes of In Living Color. I think that was her first TV work. Mm-hmm. She was in House Party 3, but she was on Hanging with Mr. Cooper, and she was on 10 episodes of Martin. That's what it was. She was on 10 episodes of Martin.
I seen she was on some sitcom with John Witherspoon, too, about the first family, like the black family in the White House or something. It didn't look like it lasted very long, but it was like a sitcom.
Yeah. But, it was like interesting to see. It's like, oh, wait a second. We've watched. Oh, and she was also Living Single. She was on an episode, too. Mm-hmm. It's like, wait, we've watched Living Single. We've watched Steve Harvey. It's like, so, chances are we watched already her, like, a little bit of her work.
Mm-hmm.
But
she's easy on the eyes, that's for damn sure.
Oh, yeah. Oh, very much so. Wanda. Bertie's real life wife was Rhonda.
Oh, but a little play on
the show was Wanda.
Well, as we've said already, the show is not based on his real life, and really anyway.
I did read, though, there was an incident where he briefly took in his niece.
Mm.
But I don't think it was like his sister's 3 kids. It was like his niece and actually her daughter. So the niece was already older at the time.
Well, one story I read said that he didn't have any sisters, so it must have been a brother's kid then.
Yeah. So, but then a friend of his, like, raised the the kids.
And I assume he was a real Chicago boy because they mentioned Chicago being his hometown a lot here.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, he mentions his hometown a lot.
There's a two-parter where they go to Chicago.
Yeah, they also like a lot of times when he's given life lessons, especially to Jordan, the son. Like he's bringing up his Chi-town, like the roots and him growing up that way, which is kind of interesting when you merge it with some of the other storyline.
Mm-hmm.
But also, one of the Chicago White Sox pitchers actually makes an appearance in one of the episodes.
Oh, we'll get to the fucking list of guest stars because goddamn.
Yeah.
Once we get past the main cast, let's talk about some guest stars.
Okay.
I don't think any show we've talked about yet has had the guest stars this show had in a 5-year run.
I'm gonna let you handle it. I'll add in, but oh my god, yeah. Like some of the, and also even some of the recurring, players, that weren't like main cast, but like some of them, it's like, oh shit, that's from this show. Oh wait, from this show.
And the kids, I didn't know from anything else yet. This is probably their introductory for the most part. Maybe Vanessa was in a few things before, but
yeah, I was looking up like their IMDb, and I'm like, wow, they weren't in a whole hell of a lot yet. Nessa did more work. She actually did also more voice work, actually. But Vanessa was played by Camille Winbush. So, she actually did more like, some animated work, like voice work. Jordan was played by Jeremy Suarez. And, he didn't have a large...
The only other thing I've seen him in was I don't know if you watched The Angry Video Game Nerd. You're not a video game guy. But one of the early YouTube guys who's still around, The Angry Video Game Nerd, did a movie, and he's in it.
Well, isn't he the one that used to be on Conan a lot?
Who?
Angry Video Game Nerd?
Oh, no, you're thinking of The Clueless Gamer, which was actually Conan.
Clueless Gamer,
yeah.
Okay, that's okay. I was mixing up the two.
That was just a segment they did, but Conan was technically the Clueless Gamer in that.
Yeah.
I met that guy, though, at a Conan show in Detroit. Aaron,
sweet.
Aaron Blayert, cool guy. He's the one who does those segments with Conan.
Yeah, what's his name again? Jeremy Suarez, who played Jordan. Like, he had a little bit of thing. Like, it was in Fat Albert. He was in Brother, like the voice of
he was
in
Ronald?
Brother Bear.
Is that right?
Oh, and Russell. He was Russell.
Russell. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Rudy, you're like school in the summertime. No class. But he was on like a few other shows, like few episodes, but nothing big. Then Baby Girl, Brianna, played by Dee Dee Davis. Like, she had an even smaller resume, it seems.
Well, yeah, she was only, I'm not good with kids' ages. What, 6 in the beginning of the show or something, maybe?
Something like that. Oh, no, 5, I think. 5. Or they might have actually said she was 6, but I think in reality she was even younger, which is bizarre because usually you're aged backwards.
I did one summer at an amusement park where I ran games. And the game where you can guess your weight, age, or what was the other one? There was birthday.
Okay.
And whenever a kid would come up to like guess my age, I'm like, I don't know. You could be 6 or you could be 19. I have no fucking gauge on what age children are because I don't have them. You might be in diapers or you maybe just graduated high school. Either way, I have no fucking idea.
Here, kid, you win.
Yeah. Take your stuff and you get the fuck out.
Now, of the kids, like, who was your favorite, like, or favorite interactions with?
Well, let me just say, it's sad as it is to say, I feel like the kids are the least interesting part of this show, which is weird that that's the part that he made up for the comedy act. Because you're like, right. I almost feel like if you followed a Bernie Mac career, you'd have a little more zany antics to deal with. Of the 3 kids, of course, I think Jordan is the most fun. Yeah. He has the most personality.
He related to him more and wanted to teach him more of the life lessons versus Baby Girl and Nessa. Like he was like he was always scolding them, or like Nessa would be in trouble or something. But Jordan was the one that he was always trying to get through to, and
Nessa is so grounded in this show and real, and like she's just a normal girl. So for a sitcom, she almost feels out of place. But then you can see when they do use her right, it's those emotional moments with him.
Yes.
Especially, the episodes dealing with her mother, and like she's the one you really see the loss of her mother with through the kids.
Right.
And Bernie, has that. Did you watch the one where he has that great speech with her about why he's so strict with her about boys and all that? Because
I'm trying to remember.
He goes. I don't
think I saw that one.
And he actually really is and probably doesn't get enough praise for a really good dramatic actor, Bernie. Mm-hmm. But he has a great speech to her, like, "You're not the first 17-year-old I raised. It was your mother the first time around. And I didn't keep a good enough watch on her." And he's like teary-eyed, and he's like, "I don't want to fuck up with you like I fucked up with her, because she's became a drug addict." And
exactly. Yeah, apparently I think on the show, it's like she was just an addict. Like, I think she also used to be a drunk, and then she was into drugs, and that, it's like, okay, now she's...
Do we ever see her? Like, all the episodes I watched, like, she just kind of never showed up, so...
No, I never saw her, like, in any of the episodes I watched.
Okay. I wondered, because I think I saw 3 of them at least where she was supposed to show up, and she just never shows up, so... I think she's, like, a mystery. Even, I noticed... I think it was a Christmas episode where he's showing, like... I want to go back to family traditions. And he has a family photo of him and his sisters and his brother and him and his mom. Yes. And you notice his finger kind of covers up. What was the sister? I forget which sister's name that was. Lisa? Is that right? Something like
that. The one,
the kid's mom. One? Yeah.
Oh shit. I have it written down.
Stacy or Lisa? Something. It was pretty.
Stacy.
Is that right? Okay. So even when he's showing that photo in the confessional, his finger's over her face. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, that's good. Because one, is it because they don't know what actress is going to play her? Or two, is because they don't want you to know, they want her to be a faceless entity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, she's the sister. She was the mom of the 3 kids, but that's it. Like, we're not going to delve into that character. We'll mention her every once in a blue moon, but that's it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they do show his younger sister, played by Niecy Nash.
Niecy Nash, Anita. Yeah, awesome. Yeah. From Reno 911. Rainisha Williams. I was so thrilled the first time she showed up. I was like, I love her.
But do you want to go like on some of the recurring ones? Like some of the recurring cast?
Yeah, I'm going to need to pull this list up here because that was fucking insane, the amount of people. Just in the ones I watched, I'll say first, Billy Crystal, Ashton Kutcher, Lucy Lawless, Matt Damon. I was like, I seen...
Matt Damon.
Carl Reiner was his neighbor in several episodes. It's like, holy fuck. They just kept showing up.
A plethora of great actors and actresses and other comedians, such as Chris Rock.
Chris Rock, yes.
Yeah. Jay Leno's on that same episode. What's his name from Night Court? Played Mac.
Oh yeah, what is his full name?
I always forget his freaking name.
Did you see who played Wanda's parents?
Oh yes. Yeah, the grandparents episode.
They were in, I think, 2. Well, it was the first Aunt Viv from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, which makes sense because of Wilmore's connection. Yep. And the guy, I kept going, why the fuck do I know this guy? Why do I know this guy? I had to look it up. Creighton Duke from Jason Goes to Hell, the psych. Yes. I was like, oh fuck, dude. The guy who hunted down Jason Voorhees was her fucking...
her father.
Yeah, I was like, holy shit. You already mentioned Niecy Nash.
Niecy Nash.
Don Cheadle was like his cousin, kind of. Mm-hmm. Wesley Snipes was in here. Angela Bassett. Shaquille O'Neal. Penn and Teller.
Yep. Oh, you also had, in the same episode as... Mac from Night Court. You also had one of the other barbers was Craig Robinson.
Craig Robinson, Ellen DeGeneres, Snoop Dogg, Monique, Paula Abdul, Hugh Hefner, Steve Austin. It's like, holy fuck. It was insane. Like, people just kept showing up. And they would always actually give them shit to do, which is nice.
Yeah, it wasn't just like the, oh, okay, you want to be in just like a little cameo quick. No, it was actually, oh, we'll give you a little meat in this strip here.
Like, obviously, the Ashton Kutcher cameo was because of Punk'd, because it was like a prank episode. So he was in the confessional room, the den, with Bernie, and he's talking through all the pranks with him. And I kept waiting for him to say Punk'd, but it's a different network, so apparently he probably couldn't say Punk'd. But the one with Billy Crystal was great, where he has Jordan fake an asthma attack or something to go to a Clippers game. And Billy Crystal is at the Clippers game with him. So he's in the confessional like, you really made him? And he's faking like he goes, I had childhood asthma. And he's like, Billy, stop.
Oh my God.
So fucking funny. But you're like, how often is Billy Crystal going to show up on a sitcom, you know?
Not often.
He was on an episode of Friends with Robin Williams, but that's a pretty rare get, I would say. And then that whole episode with the golf tournament with Matt Damon and Lucy Lawless, so funny, dude.
I can't help every time I hear Matt Damon's name, I think of Team America World Police. Matt Damon. And you know the story behind that one, right?
Oh, do tell.
Matt and Trey from South Park,
Mm-hmm.
who are the directors,
who wrote and directed that,
of Team America. When they were making the Matt Damon puppet, the mold and in the kiln and that it kind of like melted a bit, so it came out. So they just that's why they decided to just the only thing he says is Matt Damon.
Oh God!
Because apparently, I guess they were going to give him other things like the rest of the Film Actors Guild.
That sounds like there's in Cult of Chucky when they have the one like special Chucky who's like has a shave. They shave his head and shit, and he's just he's stabbing somebody. He's just like, I feel so alive, and they're like, dude, calm down. Yeah.
Oh my God.
But yeah, the caliber of guest stars on the show I have not seen on many other sitcoms.
Yeah. Well, one recurring player was remember from his poker game.
Well,
there was a couple of actually from the poker game. One, the season 1 Chewie was played by Carlos Mencia,
and then they replaced him with a new guy.
Yes. Exactly.
I wonder if that was
Lombardo Boyer.
I don't think his fallout started that early though, so there must have been some other reason.
It was that early.
I bet you he only left because he probably got that Mind Mencia show on Comedy Central and couldn't do it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I don't think Mencia's whole deal started that early.
Yeah. Although we'll get to the one episode of with Chris Rock and the Mencia scandal a little bit, but one of the other ones, his buddy WB, played by Reginald Ballard. Do you remember him?
I mean, all of his poker buddies looked kind of familiar, but I don't know from what.
Yeah, Reginald Ballard was Brother Man from Martin.
Oh, he lost a lot of weight then for this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was like,
Brother Man.
Oh, shit. It's like, when I was looking people up, I'm like, wait, that's Brother Man?
And the poker buddies are in like the most episodes of any of the other guest stars. Actually, I recognized Megan Faye. I think she worked at the school in this. And she was
yes.
She was from Malcolm in the Middle as like when they go to the ranch, she's like the wife of the ranch dude. Oh, yeah, so funny on there.
Yeah, she's been in a bunch of, I was looking at her like credits and it's like, holy crap, she's been in a lot. Yeah, she's got like 151 different credits. It's like, holy shit. But a lot of onesies, twosies.
Well, shit, even Larry Wilmore, I was like looking at his credits. I'm like, The Facts of Life. He was like a cop on 3 episodes of The Facts of Life.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, shit.
Holy crap, I'm going to have to look back at that one. Well, yeah, there's one for us to watch.
Well, then you start to realize the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air connection because you have her mother as Aunt Viv, the first Aunt Viv, and even the woman who played Will's mom was in here from Fresh Prince. So
right.
Like, oh, shit. So he was obviously pulling from, which shockingly, if he created the PJs, you would think maybe Eddie Murphy would show up, but I didn't see him on any of the lists.
No, I didn't see him listed as any of like the guest stars, but shit if like Sugar Ray Leonard and Holly Berry weren't there.
Actually, shockingly missing from the Bernie Mac show, you would think Steve Harvey, Cedric the Entertainer, D.L. Hughley.
I thought some of the Kings of Comedy would actually be on there, but no. I was surprised in that.
Yeah, that is weird. Maybe Cat Williams was right. That's America, so funny, go watch that interview.
Yeah. Go back to our Steve Harvey episode, and we talk a little about that. Cat Williams, you were the one that brought it to my attention.
That same podcast, I just saw Damon Wayans was on there. Was it Club Shay Shay? Is that dude's name, I think? And Damon Wayans was on there spilling some tea, too. I was like, oh, shit.
Oh, damn.
Actually, Damon Wayans, I think I've said it on here before about the whole thing about Robin Williams stealing jokes all the time.
Yes. Yeah, and apparently he...
Yeah. Damon Wayans talks about it on that episode of Club Shay Shay I was talking about.
Really? Yeah, because apparently, like, Robin just, like, like he was so animated and he just spit anything out. And
he would just steal people's jokes that he heard an hour before, and you're like...
Right.
And his manager, he said, would just... Here's a check.
Yeah.
For the joke. What the fuck?
So basically, that was, again, Robin, like, it was said that, he didn't realize he was stealing people's jokes, but, to be believed or not, I could see somewhat the, not because he had that stream of consciousness type of humor, but after a while.
I also think that's why I never found his stand-up that funny, to be honest. Like, look at me. I fucking hate that shit, dude. I hate that. How about you write craft?
See, I like that manic, and also like being able to like also improvise like on the spot.
Well, I respect way more craft, write craft and hone a joke. Perfect your joke over time, and like that's not what he did. I mean, movies, I think that man was born to play the genie in Aladdin. I think he was.
He was. Yeah. He was born to play the genie in Aladdin.
He was perfect.
And he was a fantastic dramatic actor.
Right.
People
that too,
don't give
yes.
him enough props for that.
Yes.
I ever see 1 Hour Photo?
Yes. Yeah.
That was creepy as hell. That was great.
What was the other one? Insomnia or something?
Oh, yeah. What's it? I think that's the name.
Yeah, he was a great... Especially in thrillers, he was really creepy.
Yeah. Ever see when some people manipulate a trailer to change the genre?
Doubtfire, the Doubtfire one.
Doubtfire.
Yeah, to make it a thriller. Yeah, that was fucking funny. Yeah, look that up on YouTube. This is Doubtfire as a thriller. People do that with Ross on Friends all the time. There's a channel that does that.
Oh, really?
Have you seen that?
No.
They take Ross from Friends and they take out all the happy Friends music and all this shit, like the one where he has the sandwich. You stole my sandwich, and it's like dark music. It's really good.
Yes, boys and girls, like be cognizant of music in a show. It can definitively change the mood.
They also have that scene where he first sees like Monica and Chandler hooking up in the window, and he's just watching all fucking creepy. Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, I'm gonna have to look that up after this. Oh, but yeah, the Chris Rock the second story that was going on in the show was baby girl gets pink eye. Okay, she's got to stay home from school, Jordan sees this, it's like, give me some of that. Like,
oh God.
And he takes her pillow and like he rubs his face on the pillow
kid's
and that.
Fucked up,
like
dude.
he brings it to his room and he's like going like that. Nessa comes, takes the pillow and gives it back. It's a baby girl. And what happens? Nessa gets pink eye. And Jordan's still not.
God damn.
Then finally, Nessa basically gives him pink eye. Like,
did you see the one where it was the first one where Niecy showed up as the sister, and he's like staring at her tits and shit, like he sees her boobs, and he becomes obsessed, and he's like at school, and Jordan's sitting at his desk, and it's like in his mind where all the women in the class are like supermodels wearing bras, and he ends up grabbing the nun's tits. And Bernie's like, you just gotta tell me what's going on in your head. He's like, I saw Aunt, what's her name? Bonita. I saw Aunt Bonita's boobs and I can't get them out of my head. And he's like, she gotta go. She gotta go. She warping the boy's mind.
That's so funny. Like with the bringing up the sister there, the nun. Like there are a few things with nuns, like some running gag things, like when Jordan has to learn to walk home, and he's walking home with the other boys. And it's like, yeah, I think Sister So-so likes you. Like one of the kids is pointing out to the other. It's like, yeah, I think she really likes you.
Honestly, who's the father? The priest? He's like the funniest fucking.
By Wade Williams. Wade Williams.
He was so fucking funny in every bit he was in, dude.
Father Sean, yeah, the dean of discipline.
Every scene with him and Bernie was so funny, dude.
Oh my God, it was so great. And
he's in 14 episodes.
Like the one episode. Did you see the episode where it's Bernie preparing to do his stand-up? Like the whole episode.
The HBO special. I didn't watch that one. No.
Okay, that was a really funny episode. And Jordan gets in trouble. Bernie is already at the the place, for the episode. He's got to go pick up Jordan. First, he had to watch Baby Girl. She's there. He has to pick up Jordan, and basically, Jerry, the manager, comes along with him, and he's trying to talk to the dean.
Dude,
and the dean is like, he's basically just like smoking and like giving him like the death stare. You're one of those Hollywood types, aren't you?
The one, I think it was the 4th season where they go to like the church retreat, and they're they're reined in, and the priest is like, something to help you get through, and he has like a flask, and he starts drinking it, and Bernie's like, a Cuban, and he sniffs it, he's like, I am but a humble servant. He's like, just every bit of.
With that, I'm thinking of now Father Ted.
Yeah, and the episode where Jordan, like, he has to sell the candy bars for school, but he ends up eating all the fucking candy bars.
Yeah.
And he's in the confessional with like a toy up in the window. Oh, my friend, what would happen if he, couldn't pay back all the money? And he's like, he'd be in hell for eternity. It's like, oh, okay. That doesn't sound good, He was probably my favorite, like, reoccurring side character.
Yeah.
So funny.
Yeah.
In his office, whenever Bernie's like in his office, it's so dark and dank and like dismal. Yep. There's like no lighting at all. It's just like a glow on his face.
Oh my God.
What do you say? Also, something about when Jordan grabs the nun's breasts? He goes, yeah. If he wanted to touch a relic, we have the so-and-so in the I forget what it was, but if he wanted to touch a relic that old or something, we have whatever. Yeah. Oh my God. It was so fucking funny. He's 65 years old. She's the wife of Christ.
Oh my God. But yeah, there were some great, some great recurring characters.
Oh, did you see the David Faustino episode?
No, I didn't see that one.
So there's an episode where Bernie takes a role in like a kids movie, and it's basically Barney. It's called Drooby. But it's Green Barney, basically. Mm-hmm. And because Baby Girl is obsessed with it.
Right.
Like, so he's like, oh, I'm going to play the villain in this kid's movie and she's going to love me. And they go to the premiere and she throws a fit like, we got to leave. And then you find out it's because she hates Uncle Bernie now because he was mean to Drewby. Because he's the villain.
Oh, great.
So he finds out his manager is the same manager that Drewby has. So he's like, can you get him over here so we can make it up to, baby girl? He's like, okay. And he brings him over and they're, oh, look, we're friends, whatever. And as soon as she leaves, it takes the mask off and it's David Faustino.
Oh, my God.
And he's like, he's playing like a version of himself. Oh, yeah, just a few weeks ago, I was selling whatever, I was at the car wash selling air fresheners, and here I am, the #1 star in America. And he's taking the costume off, and he goes, can you believe some girls want me to keep the costume on? And he goes, who the hell are those girls? And he looks around and he goes, it was Christina Applegate. Of course, Bud and Kelly Bundy of Married with Children.
Yes.
I thought that was funny. But then, so Bernie's helping him take his costume off so he can leave. And he's putting it in his trunk for him, and he can't fit it in, so he's beating the fuck out of it, getting in the trunk, and of course the little girl sees him. So she's like, oh my God, you killed Drewby! Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Oh my God. Oh, another one that I liked, that was recurring was, what the hell was it? Mr. Cooley, the social worker that had to
like check on him occasionally.
Yeah. where the kids were giving him like the one episode, like if Bernie had to watch his language, like not just like for expletives, because one of the reasons was baby girl overheard him say the term talking about being rich. Yeah, it's like, yeah, there's this rich, there's it was like little countdown.
N-word rich?
Yes. And she used it at the school. Of course, Megan Faye is like, yeah, you wouldn't believe what she said. And then he looks at the thing. Oh, yeah, it's like he realizes baby girl was overhearing what he was talking about.
Well, I like the first line of the show too, is something like, America? I'm going to kill them kids. It's like, we talked about it on Clarissa. I think the first line of her show was like, I'm going to kill my brother, He's like, I'm going to kill them kids.
Yeah, my favorite show, Clarissa.
See, you didn't think the Bernie Mac show had anything to do with Clarissa Explains It All, huh?
No, everything connects. No. But anyway, that Mr. Cooley was Matt Besser, who I've been studying a little bit from Upright Citizens Brigade for improv.
You mentioned before we start recording the final episode. It would be a shame not to mention that because, God.
Oh, my God.
What a fucking weird world where the final episode of the Bernie Mac show, he has a near-death experience. He gets shocked by the microwave because the little baby girl put a fucking tinfoil wrapped plate in there.
Oh, yeah, well, not the plate. It was just like the baked potato was wrapped in foil on the plate.
And so he gets electrocuted, and the whole episode is about him, he has a near-death experience, so he wants to teach the kids everything he can before he dies.
Right.
And he's making videotapes and everything.
They're angels. They're angels.
Yeah.
Did you see the angels?
And, oh, man, when you start to think about, wow, he was only 2 years later, he was gone. You're like, fuck. Yeah. And that's the last episode of the show.
Like, present, it's like, oh, shit.
What was the name of the disease he had? A lung disease?
Was it sarcoidosis?
Something like that. Yeah. And then he
sarcoma, but
he ended up dying from complications from pneummonia because he was fighting this disease for 25 years, I guess he was fighting it.
Yeah, he was fighting it a long time, and he was in the hospital for, I think, they said it was like 3 weeks, and then he succumbed to pneumonia and basically, I guess a heart attack.
Well, and you go, that final episode, there's literally a scene where the kids are at his coffin and shit.
Right.
And you're like,
and basically taking stuff like off
yeah,
him,
taking
like,
his ring and his necklace.
ring.
It's done for comedy in that moment, but yeah, just that whole episode is pretty funny in the way he's doing it. But there is a heartfelt moment at the end where she's trying to go to, like, she doesn't want to go to Stanford, was it?
Yes, Stanford. She originally wants to go to Stanford, but she hasn't made her essay yet.
And then she ends up writing a essay to get into Stanford about him, about like the person that influenced you the most or something.
Right. The person in your life.
This show does have a lot of really good little heartfelt moments. I like the way Bernie handles them, because the Bernie character is, I don't know if it's like the real Bernie, but the Bernie character is very like, I'm a man.
Yep.
I don't want to cry. So every time there's a heartfelt moment, he's crying, but he's fighting the crying, which I love that in this show for him, because it's so impactful, especially when it involves the kids, because like you could tell he wants to be there for the kids and he can't stop the tears, but he tries so fucking hard.
Exactly.
And it's so nice. It's so sweet. It's so different than what you see him in the movies when he's cameos and he gets to be emotional.
And the great thing, as you brought up too, the separation of Bernie in the den, talking to the audience, fourth wall, versus Bernie the character, like in the actual, what's going on.
And tell me if I'm crazy. Did they stop having other characters do that after like the first year? Because it seemed the first season, even like Jordan and Wanda would look at the camera and break the fourth wall. But then later, it seemed like he was the only one doing it.
That's what I saw. That it was mainly him breaking the fourth wall. Where it's like, especially in the first, going back to that first episode,
Wanda does it.
Yeah, but going back to the first episode, he's like pointing out to the kids, like, that's mine. This is my old school. This is my new school. This is like going over all his music. Yeah, this is my TV, this is my VCR and DVD, this is my, and it's like, you stay out of here, you don't touch anything. And it's kind of funny. It's like he for the most part tries to keep everyone out of the den, because that's also where he speaks. That's his
magic world.
Yeah.
There's also, we haven't mentioned yet, kind of a third realm of jokes in the writing on the screen.
Yes.
Where it's almost like you're a sports commentator and you're drawing on the screen, but they're writing jokes. It's almost like in the editing stage, they're like, hey, there's a whole nother opportunity here to add jokes in or something.
Exactly, because one thing that they did from the beginning is, you have the title of the episode, but within the episode, there's like basically 3 acts.
Right, and each act has its own name.
Each act has its own name. So you have that writing for that. But then, as you said, pointing out certain things like in the scene.
It's yellow chicken scratch with arrows, and it's like adding jokes to the moment. And you're like, oh, shit. Okay. And they're usually pretty good. They're very cynical. Like, I'm trying to think of an example of like the therapy one where they're like, oh, everyone write something to somebody in your family anonymously and someone will read it about whatever. And it's like, we don't like how mean you are to us or something. And Wanda's reading them off. And he goes, when was the last time I was mean to y'all? And it like cuts to each kid with the writing and the arrow and is like, this morning. And it's like the little 5 minutes ago or whatever. And it's like little jokes that were added in the end, Yep. And it's these little touches is what I think makes this such a great show. And really, to me, it was like, yes, it had 5 seasons, but in the same way, it's also kind of a hidden gem. I don't hear a lot of people talking about the Bernie Mac show. Like other shows from back then early 2000s, it's kind of looked over. I just thought of another great example of that writing joke where they're on the plane. I think it's when they're going to Chicago, and the stewardess comes up and takes away the tray it says chicken. Takes away the other one. It says fish. And then it cuts to Jordan puking in the bag, and the arrow's pointing to the bag, and it goes, chicken, fish, as he's puking. But
my God.
and you say it got 5 seasons, and think though, if the show had kept going, he was dead only 2 years later.
Yeah.
So would the show have dealt with that? Would we have another 8 Simple Rules situation where the lead of your show dies?
I think at that point you really
this show would have to be over. You can't continue this show without Bernie.
Right. Yeah. But, 8 Simple Rules was. Well, go back to our episode.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see what we say about that one. But,
well, even then, you had star power besides John Ritter in that show, and it wasn't the John Ritter show, No,
and as we went through the regular cast, the other actors, actresses, they weren't the big names. They weren't. It's like, okay, can this person carry a whole show?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, let's think about that. If we took Bernie Mac away, can Wanda?
This show wouldn't. No, this show couldn't do it.
Yeah, because also, what do you do with Nessa? Because she's supposed to be off to Stanford. It's like, okay, is she now out of the show, and now it's just Wanda and the 2 kids?
Did they have the baby in the last season? Because I saw one where she was trying to get pregnant, and then they were having issues with his sperm, but they never got pregnant, right? Or did they?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay. Because I think the end of the 4th season or something, she wanted to have a baby, and then I saw episodes in the 5th season where it was like the kids were worried about being forgotten when the baby shows up, and I was like, oh, is she pregnant? But
yeah, but I don't remember another kid.
Because in the finale, there's no baby, so
right.
It's like,
yeah. Did we miss something?
Unless I skipped one where she got pregnant, but
right, but looking through like the credits and that, like I don't see another listed
right
listed kid here.
They'd be triplets or something, as they always do. Twins or triplets, because you're gonna have them on set as long as possible.
Yeah, so you with twins and triplets, you could do things like Full House. Or you can do things like Everybody Loves Raymond, where they're both on. But I just can't see them like if they had tried to continue and Bernie passed. I can't see the show going on.
He was only 50 years old. God, that sucks.
It's scary. Yeah, I'm older than when Bernie Mac died.
And
that's
as big as he was too, you can tell at the time. He was like, it was about to be a Renaissance, dude. Like, he was just starting to hit the mainstream. Mm-hmm. I mean, as big as the original Kings of Comedy was, not everybody knows it still. Like, there's a lot of white America who's like, who the fuck was Bernie Mac?
and this is why we do this show, I think. Because a lot of people overlook, there was this great show called The Bernie Mac Show. Who's Bernie Mac? Well, let's tell you a little about Bernie Mac.
In as I'm watching it, I go, this is the most mundane, low stakes show I've ever seen, as far as even sitcoms go. But he's so fucking funny, and you just can't stop watching him.
He's funny, and just like he draws you in. He's the charisma is just so there.
And even when he keeps talking about how bad these kids are, you're like, these kids really aren't that bad. Like, they're not, as far as the pantheon of bad kids on TV, they're not that bad. So when the whole episode, and just read the episode descriptions, because they're not like monumental episodes. A lot of these episodes, it's like, Vanessa's dating a boy who has a baby, or baby girls in a school play. It's not fucking big monumental episodes.
No. Yeah, it's not like stakes like
no,
and like absurd stakes that you'd find in a lot of sitcoms. And, like, oh God, like, well, what? How are they gonna get out of this one?
And there's not even like weddings. Like, most shows have like a wedding every year. There's not even like wedding episodes or anything.
Weddings or deaths. Like, we met the grandparents. We don't have like
well, the one where they go to Chicago was for a funeral, actually.
True, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then he finds out that was his father, which was, I thought we'd get more of that. Did you see that one? Did you watch that one?
No, I didn't actually see.
So you go through the whole funeral. That's where we have Don Cheadle as like his cousin, or he calls him his little brother, but I think he said it's not his real brother or something. But at the end, the uncle died. The aunt gives him a tackle box, like, "Oh, your uncle wanted you to have this," and he's on the plane ride home, which I was like, he never opened it, so TSA just let him on with an unopened tackle box. Whatever, I don't believe that, but.
Did anyone hand you anything?
Yeah. No. But he opens this tackle box and he has like a baby picture of his uncle, and him and Wanda are like, "Wow, he looks a lot like you as a baby." Like, yeah. And he pulls out a birth certificate, and he finds out that that's actually his father.
Yeah. It was Uncle Ellister.
Yeah, and I don't think we ever really touched on that again.
No.
But it was a sweet little moment on the plane, I guess.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't see. Actually, I didn't see the second episode. That's why I was saying it's like, I didn't see the conclusion. Yeah,
he found out that was his father at least on his birth certificate. Those can be fake too. So.
Yeah, like I read it. I'm like, shit.
So
I have to go back to that one, but let's wrap it up. What is your take on the Bernie Mac show? Like you said, yeah, it's not a lot of high stakes. Like premises, but he really carries
this
great show.
To me, as far as the way the show's presented, I feel a lot of a Cosby Show influence, where it's just, the Cosby Show was just Bill being funny with little kids. And I get a lot of that in the Bernie Mac show, where it's Bernie being Bernie as much as he can for a primetime Fox network show. It's nothing high stakes. And the Cosby Show was rarely high stakes. There was never big fucking...
There wasn't a lot of high stakes episodes on that show. Yeah, it was more in real life. If Bill gave you a drink, that was a little more high stakes.
I love Bernie Mac. I would watch him read the phone book in that little den of his, and I would love every minute of it. Do I wish there was a little more energy and a little more going on in this show? I do. To me, the kids are the least interesting part of the show, and unfortunately, the entire show is focused on really almost none of his career, very rarely his career, maybe an occasional episode. Right. But most of it is about him raising these kids.
Exactly.
Is it good? Yes, I think it's a great show.
I think it's a great show as well, and with the kids, and him, like you said, complaining about the kids, and again, he's trying to, with his older sensibilities and the way he grew up. And that it's like, but through the lens of like, we can't talk this way anymore. We can't, do things like this anymore.
So luckily, it's Bernie Mac is all I can say.
Yes,
because if you had anybody else plugged into this slot in the show, I don't think it would work.
I don't think it works. But I really do. I've enjoyed watching the show, like revisiting. I'm like, oh wow, yeah, this really was a good show. Because Bernie really makes this show, and the writing, even though it wasn't always the same writer, like Larry Wilmore, even though he created it, I think he only wrote 2 episodes, I think.
Yeah, well, it's always hard to tell because the creators always get writing credit on everything. So
yeah,
actually, if you look at the writers on this show, it looks like it was a real room effort.
Yes.
There's so many writers listed on so few episodes. I feel like they all were in a room. It was a real writer's room, it feels like.
Yeah. And I wanted to say, it's like, yeah, it really felt like, it was like a combined effort because it never lost the tone.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you watch a show sometimes and like, oh, these episodes are great. And then they have a string of, and then you find out, oh, well, it was a different writer for these episodes.
The thing that bummed me the most out about watching this, too, is I have the first season on DVD, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, oh, I should get the rest. They never put them out.
Damn.
Only the first season was ever put on DVD. They never put out the other seasons. In the first season's not even like HD. If you watch it on Tubi, it's like full screen SD, I think. And then all the other seasons are widescreen HD. You're like,
yeah,
give me a fucking Blu-ray set, people. Where the fuck are you doing?
And it's strange. I was going to ask you. So you watched it on Tubi?
This time, yeah.
Yeah. I did a combination because let me go into my rant a little bit. On streaming services, especially when I'm looking up, and I want to watch a particular episode.
And some are missing on this and that and that and that.
Well, it's not that it's missing, but basically what is labeled as like season 4, episode 3, being Bernie Mac, and you go into the episode, well, that's really episode 2. Yeah, it's like, wait, so where is episode 3? And, like you have to either hunt for it, or I started on Hulu and then I went over to Tubi because they actually had it more in. Well,
and that's what we've encountered before is depending on the streaming service, some will have them in production order and some will have them in airing order.
Correct. But the crazy thing is when you look at the description and the episode name, it's like, oh, this is the episode I'm looking for. And you click it and you start watching and you're waiting for it. What was in the synopsis there to...
You're like, where's Chris Rock?
...be there. It's like, but this one's a little different. Huh. Like when I tried to watch that one, the Being Bernie Mac one, and it wound up being the episode where he's trying to teach baby girl how to ride a bicycle without training wheels.
Listen here, America.
You see that one?
If you could get your streaming services to list all the episodes in the proper order.
Yes, that's all we ask. That's all we ask. But yeah, like
if you don't do it, we're gonna kill them
anyway.
kids. Oh.
It was a great episode because it was with baby girl basically has a hairline fracture of her jaw, as Bernie Mac keeps pointing out. Not a full break, but it's one of those, she's wired shut and like, so the whole episode is that. And she's got to hang out with the special needs students at her school. So Bernie's like, oh, she can't go on the class trip unless he's there. So he'll chaperone. And then turns out he's got to chaperone all the special needs students.
I'm sure that went well.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Where he kind of like berates a little bit a kid in a wheelchair to like basically it's like, no, I was just telling him, it's like, you got to stick up for yourself. You got to stand up for it. It's like, that's
the other best thing about the breaking of the fourth wall in the show. Whenever he makes like a really like a joke that he knows people won't like there was one where he's at the dinner table and he says something about a Mexican family. He's like, they need a big car. They have a lot of kids, and he looks at the camera and he goes, what, America? He goes, look at the census. I ain't lying. So he can always make the bad joke and then look, America, here's why I made that joke. I love that.
Yes. But yeah, I really enjoyed the show. Where'd you find the Bernie Mac show on your list?
So let's see here. 54 shows we've covered now, Nick. This is 54. Right. I popped the Bernie Mac show, I think, at a pretty respectable number 24.
Holy shit. I put it also at a number 24.
Did you really? Did you really?
Yes.
No shit. I have mine between the Addams Family and Police Squad.
I have mine between the Addams Family and Three's Company.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
Okay. Yeah, we are pretty much in line here with
24 out of 54. Wow. Interesting. I am a little surprised you put it over Three's Company, though. That's your era.
I know it's my era, but it's just like, I don't know. There was something about...
A little more substance to this one for you?
Yeah. I think it was also the writing, because as we brought up on the Three's Company show, just every episode is a miscommunication.
And just for comparison, where did you have the Steve Harvey show? the other king of comedy we've covered so far.
Let me go back in. Hold on a second.
I have the Steve Harvey Show at 18, so I do have it a little above this still.
I have Steve Harvey actually at 38.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually enjoyed this one more than the Steve Harvey Show. I know you liked like a couple of the characters. There was more characters.
Yeah.
On the Steve Harvey Show, like like standout characters.
Well, and we talk about it on a lot of these shows. Like even Bob Newhart, he knew to surround himself with crazy fun characters. Mary Tyler Moore Show, same thing. Surround yourself with these. The Bernie Mac Show, he is the most interesting character on the show.
Exactly.
Where even Everybody Loves Raymond, one of your favorite shows, he knew I'm going to surround myself with these amazing talents.
Yeah, and to this day, I still say it's one of the best cast shows.
So I'm not saying
the talent surrounding him.
Right. I'm not saying the cast of the Bernie Mac Show isn't talented, but they're not the caliber of a lot of big ensembles that surround named fucking title characters and comedians.
Exactly.
So it's interesting. He really wanted to be the standout, and he was. So
yes, but if people want to watch some of these older shows, or watch and or listen to some of our prior shows, like we mentioned, 8 Simple Rules. We mentioned Steve Harvey. We mentioned Living Single. Where can they find that, Jay?
You can watch or listen to Sitcom My Face, a situation comedy podcast starring Nick and I, anywhere you get your favorite podcasts. We're also on YouTube, Spotify. We're also on Amazon Music.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Amazon Music, because I think
iTunes?
Amazon had podcast. Yeah, iTunes still exists, so still find us there.
You can find Sitcom My Face on Facebook.com/SitcomMyFace. You can email us at sitcommyface@gmail.com. You can find myself on pretty much any social media at BidwellFog, BIDWELLFOG, or Nick at NetNick191.
That is correct. And for the great folks out there watching us tonight, what can they all do for us, Jay?
Well, America, Sitcom My Face.